Hi everyone. Today we are going to continue the module 2 Get Started with Azure. In this module, first we will see how to get started with Azure. Then we will try to understand the Azure global architecture. Finally, we will see Azure Resource Manager and its hierarchy. Let's get started. First, let's take a few minutes to understand some background about Microsoft Azure. Azure is a Microsoft public cloud service which is started in Feb 2010. As of today, Azure public cloud services are available in 60 plus regions and that comprise of 140 plus countries across the globe and offering 1000 plus services. In order to get started with Microsoft Azure, first you need an active subscription. So how do you get the subscription? There are three ways. That are WebDirect, Enterprise Agreement or CSP program. For our testing purpose, we are going to use the WebDirect pay-as-you-go free trial. Typically, companies will have an active subscription either through CSP or have an Enterprise Agreement with Microsoft depending on their spending capacity. To get started with free trial, you can visit the given link and sign up using your live account. Your free subscription will be provisioned by Azure within a minute and ready for use. So once the sign up process is complete, you can log into the Azure portal using your live account credentials. The first thing you need to understand that are subscription, tenant and your directory, which is very important. Subscription is an arrangement where billing is made against the resources, and the resources are any manageable item that you create in the Azure like virtual machine. And the tenant represents your company and the directory domain.onmicrosoft.com. That's your Azure Active Directory. And your subscription is linked to this directory and you can use this directory in order to manage the authentications and authorizations for your Azure resources. It is time to understand the important aspects of Azure Global Architecture. As of today, Azure services are available in 60 different regions. So primarily, we can divide them into 4 geographies such as America, Europe, Middle East and Asia Pacific. And the point you need to understand here is that geographies mainly for data residency and compliance boundaries. And each geography will have a multiple regions and each region can have one or more data center. So your resources are associated with regions, which means if you are creating a machine in East US location, then your machine will be placed into one of the data centers that belongs to East US region. Now it's very important to understand the region pair. In order to support the regional data center outages, every region is paired with another region within the country. In this example, East US is paired with West US and the West US is paired with East US. So in case of any regional failure happens on the East US, as long as you have the right resiliency strategies, you can run your workload from the secondary region in case of any disaster triggered on the primary region. Let's demystify some of the availability concepts such as availability zone and availability sets. Let's talk about the availability zone. As we discussed, each region may have 2 or more data centers. So availability zones are unique physical locations. Availability zone contain 1 or more data center. So when you create a machine, you have a flexibility to place your machines into an availability zone or availability set to make your application more redundant. Imagine you have placed your machine under availability zone. In the event of any data center failure, your workloads are protected. The machine that are placed into an availability zone can get a greater SLA. SLA is nothing more than guaranteed uptime for the given resource. So availability zones can protect your resources from the data center failure. Let's understand availability sets. Availability sets are something that you can create within the data center, which is again, it's a logical boundary between fault domain and update domain. So you have an ability to place your virtual machine across fault domain and update domains. So fault domain represents the server racks that are connected to independent power sources, and the update domain ensures all underlying machines are not rebooted together in case of any maintenance activities. It's time to understand Azure hierarchy. So this picture represents simple Azure hierarchy. It starts from management group, your subscriptions are linked to management group, and then you have a resource groups, and then you have a resources. So resource group is a container that can hold the resources, and the resources are any manageable item. So management group is a logical container that allow admins to manage the policies effectively. For example, if you have a multiple subscription and then you wanted to have a separate set of policies, separate set of permissions for your resources, then you can have a multiple management groups, and then you can link the respective subscription into the respective management group. Azure Resource Manager or ARM is the deployment and management service in Azure. So there are several ways to access ARM, such as Azure Portal, Azure CLI, Azure PowerShell, in order to manage your Azure resources. That's the end of this module. Hope this video is informative. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next update.